And so it gives me great pleasure to hand the meeting over to Patty, who will be sharing for 40, 50 minutes on step seven. Pat, lovely to have you here and can't wait. So over to you.
Michael, thank you. And Chanel, thank you. I'm Pat. I'm an alcoholic. I am excited to be here. Chanel, when you invited me way back and you told me it was step seven, I did like a little kicker dance over here in San Diego because it step seven is incredible. And for everybody that's new and coming back or just had a relapse and going, how in the world does this thing work? My heart goes out to you and I love you because this disease has been trying to kill all of us all of our lives. And there is a way out, and we're going to talk about it specifically tonight. If you're over in England and during the day over here in America, um, before I get started, my grand sponsor said a very interesting couple of interesting statements, and I want to start it off this way. AA is not about being sober. AA is about being recovered. It's about being free. And of course, that deals with we got to be clean from the drink, but that is not our problem. The problem we've been dealing with all of our lives is called a spiritual malady, and it's trying to kill us. And apart from the power of God Himself, we're no match for the spiritual malady. And we're going to talk about that tonight. And I want you to just sort of bear with me because we're going to go backwards a little bit before we come back into step seven, because it's not fair to just jump into step seven without all the prep work. You know, steps one, two, three, four, five, and six are designed to take me to a place where I know that I'm powerless. If we think about it, and then one more statement before I get started. You know, if I'm sober for any length of time and I don't have a solution, my sponsor said, sobriety without solution is cruelty. And when we try to do this knuckle under, nails on a chalkboard kind of existence without a solution, and we're struck dry, we haven't recovered yet, but we're just dry. It is a miserable place to be. I remember when I first came in and I watched people that were recovered getting well. They were in the book, they were turning statements into questions, and their lives were becoming transformed. And my life was getting worse. For the first 3, 4 months of my sobriety, I went from coming in thinking that if we could just get away from the drink if I could just get away from the drink, I'd been drinking since I was 14 years old. I didn't get sober till I'm 43. And snakes are crawling out of my skin. I can't enunciate words anymore. I'm slurring my speech. Doctors that tell me you're gonna, your liver's taking a hit. They weren't telling me I was gonna die, but they're saying you're on the road to death if you keep up what you're doing. And I can't think, and I can't really put sentences together. And I think, hey, if I could just get away from the drink, all things are gonna get good. I got away from the drink. God struck me sober on July the 9th, 2002. And my world got worse. It's not supposed to be that way. Wait a minute. I thought if I could just get away from the drink, everything's good. So what's going on? So the book's going to tell me really clearly in the book of Alcoholics Anonymous is a love story. It's a love story from the people that wrote this book to you and me. Hey, Pat, we love you enough to write a book. And we want to see you recover. And we love you. And oh, by the way, God loves you too. And once you form a relationship with God, Pat, your entire existence is going to be transformed. And the way that you approach life, the way you think about life, the way that you react to life is going to be transformed. You'll never be the same. And that's the promise. That's the joy. That's the experience of a recovered alcoholic. And so in step one, before I get up to step seven, step one's telling me, Pat, do you understand that you have a disease? physically that when you drink, you cannot control how many drinks you have. You have an allergy of the body. Dr. Silkworth says we have an allergy of the body that differentiates us from all other people. If when I pick up a drink and I cannot, on a continuous basis, not once in a while, but on a continuous basis, be able to control the drink, I've got the allergy. And that's not even bad enough. So I don't have any control over the amount. And then the book says, "Hey Pat, that's not bad enough. Let's really pound you. You have an obsession of the mind. And the obsession of the mind is plain insanity. And it says when you're stone cold sober, not a drop of alcohol in your body, your mind, Pat, on page 23, up to this point, this seems like my problem. It's part of the problem, but it's not the root of the problem. It says, Pat, a drink today be a good idea." And we have this whole chapter called More About Alcoholism. And it says, Pat, let us give you the mental state that we have. We'll just give you 4 stories of different mental states preceding the first drink. And this obsession of the mind shows up when people, when you start doing the work of Alcoholics Anonymous, you start going through the steps. You do a step 1, you do a step 2, you do a step 3, and it can be argued that you even did a step 4, but then you quit. You quit doing the work. You failed to enlarge your spiritual life. And the first story out of the block says, or in Jim's story, it says he drank. He drank. He had a resentment and he drank. He had no defense. There was another guy, we call him Carpet Slipper Man. He's the very first story. And Carpet Slipper Man says, hey, I can't get anywhere in my career until I quit drinking. So for 25 years, I'm not going to drink. I'm going to retire. And then I'm going to pull out the bottle and drink again. It's all going to be good. Because when I quit 25 years before, I could control. If it got bad, I could say no and I could stick to it. Carpet Slipper Man retires, he cannot any longer just say no to the drink. He picks it up when he's stone cold sober and he's dead in 4 years. And then you got a guy named Jay Walker, and Jay Walker that's me. I drink no matter what. It just doesn't matter what the day looks like. I drink. That's what I do. I drink. I don't care what kind of mood I'm in. I don't care what I'm happy, sad. Doesn't matter. Whether problems are big, problems are small, I drink. In a relationship, out of a relationship, I drink. I'm feeling good physically. I'm feeling bad physically. I drink. Anybody relate to old Jaywalker? Yeah? Okay, good. And then you got this guy, which is a real puzzle because he's doing everything that I think I need to be doing to be okay. Fred. Fred's got a great job. Fred's got a great wife. Fred's got great kids. Fred is doing everything great. He's got a great personality. People love him. His job, his career path is great. His partners love him. He's powerful. He's listened to by the government of the United States. He testifies before the government. Fred's a real guy. And Fred is an alcoholic. It's undercurrent. No one knows it. Fred comes into the hospital to quiet his nerves, and then he meets a couple recovered alcoholics and a doctor who understands his disease and says, Fred, you're worse off than you think. He goes, thanks for the information. I think I got it from here. I got self-knowledge. I'm not going to ever drink again because I know I can't do it. I got determination. I've always won the battle and everything else in my life. And I absolutely know I could keep on guard and it's going to be perfect. I got this. Fred goes to Washington and Fred drinks. And he cannot give himself a good reason for why he did it. And then the story goes, I won't spoil it for you guys. It's a great read. Fred meets recovered alcoholics. He is humbled now. He takes advantage of this program that's so beautifully outlined in the first 164 pages, the actual steps, the primaries in 103 pages. And Fred recovers never to drink again. And he says about his experience, I wouldn't trade the best days of my pre-drinking non-recovered condition to the worst days of my life today. This thing called being recovered is amazing. I can't even believe it's real. So here's the takeaway on the obsession and the allergy. I don't know what the day is going to look like when I'm going to drink. And if I'm an alcoholic, I drink. A meeting's not going to keep me sober. My sponsor's not going to keep me sober. Calling my sponsor is not going to keep me sober. Doing enough service isn't going to keep me sober. Going to 90 meetings in 90 days isn't going to keep me sober. Nothing human is going to keep me sober if I'm a real alcoholic. That's the conclusion on page 44 in We Agnostics. It says if you're an alcoholic, Pat, you've got to find a spiritual solution because you got something going on in your heart. And this is in the step 7, so start listening on this part. I just want to make sure we had a primer there. And I think I've got about 30 minutes. Is that right? Can somebody give me or is it 30? Is that right, Chanel?
About 35.
35. Great. Thank you, guys. I want to make sure I set the stage on this thing, okay? And so now the spiritual malady, we got to talk about it. Dr. Silkworth calls it, he gives us some terminology. He says, I'm restless, I'm irritable, I'm discontent. I'm always seeking comfort. I'm always seeking relief. And I can't find it until I get the drink in me. And I know the drink doesn't work anymore because I don't get the relief I used to get, but I believe the delusion that maybe this time it'll work. Maybe I'll discover what it used to do for me years before. And I keep buying the lie and it keeps killing me more. I'm restless, I'm irritable, I'm discontent, I'm never satisfied, I'm easily agitated, I'm always angry. There's a burning anger deep down inside my soul and I can't get rid of it. I'm judgy towards you, I'm critical towards you, I hate myself, I'm accusatory of myself. I got 17 voices going off in my head in the morning and they're all telling me I'm a loser. Anybody ever heard those voices? Yeah, me too. And I can't win. I can't shut them up. I just want the voices to stop. I just want the fear to stop. I just want relief. God, help me. I just want relief. And see, and here's the scary part. I go into this spiritual malady and I find out that what's driving it, I mean, what the essence of the spiritual malady is I'm playing God in my life. I'm selfish and I'm self-centered and I'm playing God. And I'm not good at it. I keep stepping on the toes of my fellows. They get upset with me. My wife runs out on me. My second wife, actually, they kick me out. My first wife kicks me out. My second wife kicks me out. My 3 children kick me out. My business partners kick me out. This is not hyperbole. This is real. This is what happened to me. My body's basically kicking me out, and I can't stop the nightmare from continuing on a repeat every day. I'm insane. I cannot restore myself to sanity. I can't stop what's killing me from killing me. I can't stop the thought, get a drink, Pat. It'll make it better. I can't stop the thought. Or I don't even have a thought and I have a drink in me. I can't stop the cycle from completing. So the book in We Agnostic says, Pat, the only hope you got is a spiritual solution. You got to form this relationship with God. And I know, Pat, you don't want to form a relationship with God. In fact, you're scared of God, Pat. You gave up on God probably 20, 25 years before you ever got to the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous. You concluded that every time you prayed to God to give you relief, to save the marriage, to save the kids, to save the job, to save this, to save that, to give you money, not to have this happen, not to have that happen, God didn't, God didn't, God didn't, God didn't. And the constant refrain from my experience with God was God isn't interested in Pat's life. God, I don't fault the fact that you're probably around because I can't really say there's no order in the universe. There's a mighty rhythm underlaying all. That's what Bill calls it. He calls it a spirit of the universe that has no limits on time or space or knowledge or anything else, but it doesn't have any impact on my life. In fact, Bill says the only thing that has impact on my life is the boss universal, the devil, and he certainly has me. And he wasn't being exaggerating when he said that. He was being killed by a disease. The spirituality wants me dead. And Bill says, until I turn my life over to God, on page 13, nothing changed in his life. And by the time he gets to page 13, this impersonal God becomes very personal to Bill. How did it happen? What happens through these steps for you and me? We get to have an experience with God that's personal. He's loving, he's powerful, he's rescuing, he's protective, he's caring, he's all knowledgeable, he's all guiding. And by the way, I'm not inventing this out of Pat's experience with God. This is what the big book says. This is right out of the big book. This is text out of the big book. And so I get to this third step and it says, Pat, you're powerless over alcohol. You have no power, choice, and control. You're insane in your mind. You can't even protect you from that which is killing you. And you have a spiritual malady that you can't even touch that's underlying everything. And you're being driven by the spiritual malady of rebel against God. I'm rebelling against God. I'm playing God, and it ain't coming out so well. That's the conclusion in step 3. I'm under this delusion that I could wrest satisfaction and happiness out of life. I just manage it well. And I can't. I can't pull it off. Self-riot. I'm tearing down, burning down, breaking down every relationship that I have. It's a disaster. So now I go into the step 4 experience. So in step 3, I give my life to God as I understand God. By the way, the big book's really clear. And I always get in trouble for saying this, but the big book never promotes multiple gods. The big book says there's one that has all power, and that one is God. Page 58, 59. And I'm not trying to make a spiritual belief on you happen, although I do hope it happens. What I'm saying to you is that's what the big book says. And it says, Pat, your only hope to beat a cunning and powerful and baffling disease that is out to kill, steal, and destroy your life and those around you is a spiritual freedom that you have absolutely no way of attacking. You have no way of getting to it. You have no way of self-helping yourself to it. You can't work on it enough. You can't think about it enough. You can't dream about it enough. You have no way to do it on your own power, Pat. Your only hope is to abandon yourself to this loving, caring God that has come across the universe to save your life and won't stop until you know him personally. In fact, on page 29, the book says, listen, the whole purpose of our stories, Pat, in the big book is to tell you that you could have a relationship with God. It's real. It's not artificial. It's not a concept. It's vibrant. It is real. It'll change and transform your life and those that you touch all over. It'll change the way you do work. It'll change the way you do money. It'll change the way you do relationship. It'll change the way you do health. It'll change the way you do everything in your life because God's real and God's committed and he rescues us. So we get into this 4th step after we've given our life to God, and God says, in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous in step 3 says, listen, you playing God, Pat, didn't work out so well. Hereafter in this drama called life, how about we do this? God's going to be your director. He's going to give you guidance. God's going to be your principal. You're going to represent God, no longer representing yourself to the world. God's going to be your father. You've never had a father, Pat, where you had this intimate, vibrant connection where you had identification and you were proud to be a son of somebody. And now you got God. He's going to be your father. He's going to be your employer. He's going to take care of your physical needs. He's going to take care of you employment-wise. And he knows everything about you. He's described as being your maker, my creator. He designed me. From the cellular structure up before I was even a thought, he designed me. I am his masterpiece. I go into this 4th step, and here's what it tells me. Resentments. I go into these resentments. I have habits in my life that are unsellable, that are damaged, that are broken, ways of being that don't work. And my resentments are, that's how I show up to the world, but I'm scared to death. I'm driven by these fears, this self-pity, this self-seeking, this self-delusional stuff in my life. But I am fighting everyone and anyone, everything and anything. You rub me the wrong way and I'm upset. I'm angry. I'm a grouch. I'm a grudge. I have grudges. I harbor the resentment. I think there's some value in holding on to it. And then when I find out that it's actually killing me, I can't get rid of it. The book says the only thing to get rid of it is God. Then I go into these fears and I find out that the fears are driving the whole train. The fears and the delusions that I create are driving everything in my life and it's killing me. And the book says to me, Pat, listen, we're not telling you that all your self-reliant, self-sufficient efforts to manage your fears in life, fear of being liked, fear of being not being respected, fear of not being enough, fear of not ever getting what I need to be okay. I mean, I got fear, I got 100 forms of fears, among a bunch of others. And these fears, they run my life. How do I show up in work? I'm afraid I'm going to get fired. I'm afraid I'm going to get promoted. I'm afraid they're going to find out. I'm afraid they're not going to find out. I'm afraid they're going to recognize me. I'm afraid they're not going to recognize me. I'm afraid I'm not going to have the answer. I'm afraid I am going to have the answer. Fears. Relationship. I'm afraid she won't like me. I'm afraid she will like me. I'll have to keep on trying to be the guy she likes. Can't pull that off. I'm afraid I don't have enough power. I'm afraid I'm not in enough control. I got to control everything and everyone all around me. I got these fears. And the book concludes, listen, all of your efforts to control these fears by your manipulation, by your lying, by your procrastination, by your whatever you're doing aren't enough to pull it off, Pat. Your self-reliance just flat out fails. And if you don't find God and give these fears to God, you're going to die. You're going to die because these fears will destroy your life. And then I think about these relationships, the sex inventory, relationship inventory, and I can't do anything right. There's 9 questions we get to go through, and we look at the history. I'm a mess. And then we get to this sex ideal. How am I going to show up in real life, in real relationship? I got great moral codes. I got great philosophical convictions, and I cannot pull it off. I don't have enough power. Lack of power is my dilemma. All right, why so much detail on this? Because it all boils up to step 5 and 6, which gives me the launching pad for 7. What does 5 say? Pat, we don't do the inventory for you to discover all these big, more about yourself. We discovered the things that have been blocking me off from the power of God. Not God being blocked off from me being blocked off from God. There's a big difference. God's not blocked off from anything. God's perfect. God's holy. God's love. God does not ever, 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 ever experience as being blocked off from any of us. He's as close as our breath. He's as close as our heartbeat. So I go into this 5th step, and the book says, listen, the whole purpose of these steps is for you to have a new experience, a new attitude. Well, I'm getting a new attitude about my disease of alcoholism. I'm getting a new attitude about the fact I'm insane. I'm getting a new attitude that I can't manage my own life, that I can't wrest satisfaction and happiness out. I'm getting a good attitude. I'm also, thank you very much, big book. I'm not very happy with you. I'm seeing all my resentments that I can't beat. I'm seeing all my fears I can't beat. I'm seeing all my relationships that I'm screwing up and I can't beat that. And your only answer in all this thing is get God, get God, get God, get God, get God. God has all the power. God has all the power. God has all the power. It's like a repeating theme through the whole book. God has all the power. Pat, seek him now. Pat, God has all the power. When you draw near to God, God draws near to you. Man, big book, you're too much for me. I'm losing it here. So I get this new attitude. Then it says I'm going to get this new relationship with God. We start this relationship in step 1, not in step 3. And we start growing. This consciousness of the presence of God becomes the most important thing in our lives. And God is so gentle. He says, come and see what you think. Kick the tires. Hey, Pat, what do you want from me? We finally get to a place where we ask him the question after so many years of burying ourselves in our spiritual prejudice. And we unbury ourselves because you know what? We've got to ask God because we know that we're hopeless. And I say, God, I haven't been around you for 25 years. I don't know if you could pull this off. He says, why don't you try me? Why don't you try me, Pat? Let me see if you give me your resentments and your fears and your relationships and your sex ideal, and you give me your insanity and give me your powerlessness over alcohol. Let me see if I could pull this thing together. And I go, God, do it. And I get honest with you, and I get honest with God, and I get honest with myself. And I start to experience something. I start to see what I was finding so objectionable in my life, the way I've been living it. I don't want to live without power. I don't want to live in foreign territory away from God. I see where I've been powerless. I see where I can't pull it off. I see where I used to be clinging to old behavior. I'm going to lie my way through life. I'm going to keep on lying. I'm going to keep on avoiding. I'm going to keep on, manipulating. I'm going to keep on doing what I think I'm going to do. It doesn't work perfectly, but geez, it's better than nothing. Well, it's really not. It's killing me. And I get to the truth about that, about this clinginess to this old behavior, and say, gosh, I want it gone. And the fifth step says, you got all these defects, Pat. You're starting to see what they are. But those defects are just the surface of the problem. The real problem is the nature of these defects. Wait, what do you mean? Well, my sponsor said, Pat, do not get out a list and make a list of your defects. The book never calls us to do that. What the book calls us to do is to turn to God with the nature of our defects and give that to God. Why? Let me ask you a question. How are you doing on becoming more and more honest on your own power? How are you doing on becoming less and less a liar on your own power? How are you doing on pulling off all these things we always want to be in our lives and we just don't have the power to do? My experience when I really started trying that, and hey, I want to be more patient with my wife. I want to be more patient with my wife. I want to be more patient with my wife. I couldn't get more patient with my wife. Oh, I could act it out on the outside, but inside I'm an inferno. You get me on that? So this nature's underneath, and I can't touch it, and I don't know how to get rid of it. And this nature of the defects is being fueled by two things: my fear, and then I protect my fear by creating a delusion. Let me give you an example. I'm afraid of being alone. I'm never going to be included. I'm always going to be alone. I'm going to die that way. So I create the delusion I don't need people. That's how I'm going to protect myself from my fear. And I go through life trying to not need people. And all of a sudden I start finding myself, I'm alone and I'm scared of being around people. And this not needing people thing is not working out so well. And so this fear and this delusion are killing me. And I can't get rid of it. And so in step six says to me, Pat, do you find the way that you've been trying to live with power on your own objectionable? Do you find the way that you've been trying to manage your fears that are just being created like a self-making factory in your heart and your head, that you can't slow them down, that you can't close off the voices, you can't close off the bad thoughts? Do you find that objectionable to keep on living that way? And I go, yes. Hey, Pat, is there anything that you could do about it on your own power? I've tried everything. No, there's not. Do you want to keep on holding on to lying and manipulating on your own? Do you want to keep on holding on to all those ways you're trying to manage the fear? I don't want to do that anymore. I don't. I really want this thing that I did in step 3, you being the father, you being the principal, you being the director, you being the employer, you being the creator. I really want that to be live in my life. Well, how are we going to get there? Well, Pat, you're going to turn to God in all things. Bill's story, page 14, already spills the truth out. He says, I have to turn to the Father of lights in all things. It means the destruction of self-centeredness. First paragraph on page 14, Bill's story. It says, Pat, self-centeredness is killing you. You can't match it up. The only thing that's going to beat it is turning to God and letting God match up, letting God fight the battle for you. And the last thing in this step 6 experience is this. Hey, Pat, are you willing to forgive yourself for not being perfect, for not having the answers, for all the shame and all the guilt? Are you willing to go to God and ask God to forgive you? Bill does. Bill goes to God and asks for forgiveness. We go to God and ask for forgiveness in step 7 or in step 4 in the sex inventory when we're not living up to our sex ideal. Forgiveness is in step 7, step 8, step 9. It's all throughout the big books. It's in step 11 review. Forgiveness is a big part of the work. And we've been adding that to when we do the work with our people, we talk about that. Are you willing to let God forgive you? And are you willing to forgive others that have harmed you? Quit having the right to harm the people that have harmed you, Pat. They're never going to be able to give you back what they stole from you. Only God can. Wow. So now I'm ready, folks. And I go into the step 7 position. Do I have like 10 minutes? Is that where I'm at? I'm lost in my time, Chanel. Tell me, 10 minutes?
So 15.
Oh, yay. Step 7. God, I admit it. Me trying to work on self-help, me trying to fix all the broken parts of me is like playing whack-a-mole. I no sooner get done with trying to whack down being a liar, I turn into a gossip. I whack down the gossip, I turn into a prideful guy. From the prideful guy, I turn into a judgy guy. I whack that one down. Now I'm the critical guy. I whack that one down, and now I'm the self-pity guy. Now I whack that one down, and I'm somebody else. Do you get me on this, guys? This whack-a-mole of all my defects. And you know what the spirituality says to me? This is a scary thought. I want you to hear it. The spirituality wants me to play whack-a-mole with my defects. Oh, Pat, if you just try hard enough, long enough, you're going to get it. You've got enough power, Pat. You could pull this off. The spirituality wants me to go there and keep on trying. The spirituality is going to do everything in its power to keep me from going to God. Why do you think prayer and meditation and waiting on God is such a difficult task when we first start this journey? It's not easy. When we start people out in the step work out here in San Diego, we start them in a step 11 position from day one. We start teaching them to go to God immediately. I don't believe in God. Doesn't matter. Doesn't even matter. God believes in you. I still want you to go to God. Well, I don't believe in it. It's silly. I know. You're going to do it anyway. And pretty soon, 2, 3, 4, 5 months down the road, they're going to God, and they're going to God, they're going to God. And their life's starting to change. We haven't even gotten to step 3 or step 4 or step 5. How did it start changing? Because God doesn't have to wait for our step work. God does God's stuff from day one. How did you get yourself sober? Not by me, my efforts, Pat. You didn't pull that off. Pat, you were trying to get sober after your last run with alcohol for 11 years, and you couldn't pull off one day. And then one day, July the 9th, 2002, you're sober. Did you pull that off? No. How much knowledge did you have of the big book and the steps, and how many times did you complete it? None. Then how do you explain, Pat, that you're sober now for 30 days, longer than you've been in 11 years? I don't know. That's right, says my sponsor. God's doing for you what you can't do for yourself before you even know God. Oh my God. God starts doing God stuff, guys, because he loves us. God starts doing God stuff in our step 7 experience because he says, Pat, listen, I know this is a long reach for you, buddy. Your entire life's about self-effort, self-reliance, self-seeking, self-sufficiency, and it's just not working, man. The dog don't hunt. Put it to bed. But God, I'm scared of you, man. I went to you 25 years ago and you didn't pull it off for me. Yeah, but you weren't going to me for me. You were going to me for me to be your Santa Claus. You're going to me to just be your exit out of a problem. You weren't going to me out of relationship. See, Pat, I'm not going to settle. I want a relationship with you. And out of that relationship, you are going to enjoy a life beyond your wildest dreams. Guys, do you think I'm exaggerating out of the big book? Page 49. Hey, Pat, when you start doing these things and you form this relationship with God, we agnostics gives us a hint. Pat, you're going to become my intelligent agent. God speaking to me. Oh my gosh, Pat, you're going to be my spearhead. I'm going to use you to go into situations that have not been gone into with me and my power. And you're going to affect employees' lives. You're going to affect your children's lives. You're going to affect how you spend money and how you give to I'm going to change everything about how you do life. I'm going to make you my spearhead. And Pat, this is a mystery of the universe, and I'm God, so I get to say it to you. You are going to be along for what I'm doing. Not only going to be my intelligent agent, not only are you going to be my spearhead, but you are going to enjoy my ever advancing creation. Pat, I'm going to recreate your life and you're going to enjoy it. Pat, I'm going to recreate those lives that you touch around you and you're going to smile and thank me for it. Not because I'm an ego-driven God, because I'm a God of love. I'm a God of infinite love, and you'd have no idea. And every day you spend with me, I'm at the foot of your bed waiting for you to wake up to say, I love you, Pat. I love you. I love you. I love you. Oh, man, I can't wait to spend the day with you. So this step 7 is saying, God, my creator, I am now willing for you to have all of me, good and bad. God, I don't even know what that looks like. I get delusional. I'm not even honest with myself. God, you got to help clean me up. You got to change me from the inside out. Because see, the answer to getting over these nature of the defects is an inside job. God's got to kill the malady that's been controlling my life. God's got to break me out of prison that's been controlling my life. God's got to set me free and take me through this triumphant arch to freedom, folks, that's been killing my life before. And when he takes me through this, I say, please remove anything, God, in my life that doesn't work, that doesn't make me useful to you and my fellows. See, God gives me a purpose that I never had. I become useful. I become helpful. The bedevilments on page 52 go away. What do I mean by that? My emotional nature that I could never manage, the voices in my head that I could never quiet, all of a sudden I got peace in my head and serenity in the midst of calamity. And folks, I didn't do it. God did. Folks, I failed 2 marriages. My kids swore me off. They wanted me dead. They never wanted to see my face ever again in life. And now they can't wait to hang with me. My son's coming out here, and my kids come out. They come see me. I get to see my grandbabies. They can't wait to see me. I can't wait to see them. I'm in love with them. And that's a long way from where I was. Folks, I didn't do that. You know anything I did? Is I prayed for the knowledge of God's will and the power to carry it out because I can't do it. And when I start to pray for the knowledge of God's will, God says, I'm a good God. I do good things for you, Pat. The way that I live is satisfying. It's whole. It makes you passionately involved in life, and you become a lover of souls just like I'm a lover of your soul. Oh, God, you're too good to me. Pat, I'm going to take away your misery and depression. You've been trying to work on your misery and depression, all the defects of character, how you view the world, and you're too critical, and you're too judgy, and you're all this, and you're all that. You don't have enough power to change that. I'm going to give you a whole new attitude. I'm going to give you a whole new life. I'm going to give you a whole new way of being. And that judgy, critical, awful spirit, darkness, how you view the world and all the torment that goes on in the political realm and everything else that used to drive you nuts, I'm going to give you relief from that, and you're going to have peace in the midst of chaos. And you're going to be a voice of reason. You're going to be a light on a hill. You're going to be salt in this world. You're going to make an impact. And Pat, this demon called depression is no longer going to control you. I had depression from the age 14 on, and it was major depressive disorder. God removes that stuff. I'm not making a statement about medicine. Please don't misunderstand what I'm saying. Medical doctors should be sought. They have a place. They do. And I'm not a psychologist. I'm just telling you what the big book says. There is a way out of the bedevilments from the misery and depression. How about making a living that's satisfying? I couldn't do that. What were the defects of character that caused me not to be able to make a living? I couldn't show up consistently in work. I couldn't show up and be an honest employee. I couldn't show up and take chances because I was too fearful of not being able to pull it off. I was too scared of what you were going to think. I was too scared of what they were going to think. And I got all these defects going on, da 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 da. And I'm playing whack-a-mole on all of them. And I'm working 7 ways to be a better person. I'm working 10 ways to be unlimited power. And I'm going to go to every guru in the universe, and none of them have enough power to pull it off. They're humans like me. And God alone has the power. And what happens? God effortlessly changes Pat's life. He said, I say, God, that doesn't make sense. I'm firing myself from another position in my company. And I found somebody that's better at my job than I am. And I want to hire him over me. Boss, I found somebody better at my job than I am. Can I bring him on and have him be my spot? Well, let me get this straight, Pat. You want to reduce your job? You're the chief operating officer of my entire company, and you want to fire yourself from one of your core responsibilities? Yeah, boss. I'm not as good as Linda is at this one job. I want Linda to hand this up. Then I come at my boss 4 or 5 years later and I said, boss, I want to fire myself again. Oh gosh, now what do you want to do? You want to offload some more of your responsibilities? I said, yep, George is better at my job than I am. We start doing crazy, insane things because we don't worry about our provision. We don't worry about our money. We don't worry about our career. We're not in our life to manage our career. We're in this deal to love God and love humans the best way we can. I love my employees that work with me by making them as much opportunity as I could give them. I'm constantly firing myself. I'm in the twilight of my career, and I'm firing myself with 3 people there to take over my position. And I want to be bigger and better than I'll ever be. We do this because we don't have to hold on anymore, because my God's my employer, not my boss at the job in the human level. Anything that says the way God, remove it. Now, will you please, God, give me strength as I go out from here to do your bidding in step 7 in that prayer? See, we go into a prayer relationship in step 3. We turn our will and our lives over to the care of God. And there's no amen at the end of the 3rd step prayer. Do you notice that? And from step 3 to step 4 to step 5 to step 6 and step 7, we're in a prayer relationship with God. Because we can't do a step 4 without God's help. I'm too scared to look at the stuff. I can't be honest with another human without God's help. I can't admit what's objectionable and that I don't have any answers. That's a core belief that's against everything that I stand for. It's like taking away my breath of self-reliance. And God takes it away. He says, Pat, I love you too much to let you be in that prison any longer. I'm going to give you all the strength you need, son. And you are going to represent me for the rest of your days. And as you go forward, your life's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger with me. And your deepening love for yourself and others is going to know no limits. And your ability to be radically honest with yourself about what's going on and do honest 10 steps with people and honest 4 steps again and seeking my will and having a passion to get to know me. You know, in step 11, I'll finish with this because I know I'm up against the wall here. In step 11, it says we should seek outside help from religious books and our past, ministers and rabbis and the such. And you know what? I started reading the books that the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, the founders, read. And I'm going to end with a statement. Is it okay? Can I read this and we'll be done? I want you to hear how a lady in 1887 described God. All right? Why do I think it's important? Because this book, called The Christian's Secret of a Happy Life, was written by a gal named Hannah Whitall Smith. Hannah Whitall Smith was one of the favorite authors that Dr. Bob and Ann and Henrietta Seiberling and Bill Wilson read, and Sam Schumacher read. She was part of the Oxford group. And she wrote this, and it's so beautiful. I can't wait to meet Hannah someday. And she says this about God's love. You just tell me if this is a God you could do business with, okay? You ready? Thumbs up if I could read it. You guys all good? All right, here we go. Hey, Pat, I'm going to personalize because I always do that because I'm a goldfish. If I don't do it, I lose my attention. So if fellow goldfish out there, here, we got a limited time span. Here we go. Hey, Pat, put together all the tenderest love you have ever known. Dear reader, the deepest you've ever felt and the strongest that's ever been poured out upon you, and heap upon it all the love of all the human hearts in all the world, and then multiply it by infinity. And you will begin perhaps to have some faint glimpse of what the love of God in Christ Jesus is. And this is grace. And to be planted in grace is to live in the very heart of this love of God, to be enveloped by it, to be steeped in it, to be reveled in it, to know nothing else but the love and only the love, always to grow day by day in the knowledge of it and the faith in it, and to entrust everything to it, to have no shadow of doubt, but in it surely all things shall come to pass. It's God's, it's not my responsibility to grow myself out of my defects. It is my response to God's ability. Do you get me on that? I love you guys. God bless you all.
Pat,